Hey guys, welcome back to my channel. I am Ninasilic, nutrition and lifestyle coach. Yes. And speaking of coaches, today we're going to talk about how to choose a good coach. So you guys, how do we find a good coach? How do we know what a good coach is? That is something I get asked about so much in my DMs, or a question I've been just start again. So you guys, let's talk about how to find a good coach. What constitutes a good coach? And I'm talking about nutrition coach or like fitness coach, right? That's something I've been getting asked about a lot. And particularly, how do you know if a coach is worth what they're charging for their time, what you're getting? So I think rather than going through like points of what constitutes a good coach or what to really look for in point form, I don't want to do that because there's a lot of great coaches out there and they don't all fit into that same mold. They're maybe a little bit different. So what I want to do is share with you guys my experience on working with a good coach. In my experience, I've definitely worked with bad coaches before, so I'll share with you that and what to look for there. And then I want to share with you, what I bring as a coach personally, because everyone's a little bit different, but you'll really see a few guidelines and a few things that you want to look for to make sure that coach is right for you and that you are getting your money's worth. Let's start with bad coaching. There's unfortunately a lot of bad coaches out there, and they might not necessarily be a bad coach on purpose. It might just be, it's not really right for them at that point in time. They might need some more education or more experience, or they might just not be that personality for it. There's a lot of things, but I want to share with you my experience with some bad coaching in the past before I knew anything about nutrition. It was actually when I was competing, when I first started competing in fitness shows. I really wanted to get a coach to help me get onto stage. And it's the first thing, this is back before like Instagram and, having all this science-based stuff really out there in your face. It was really I got given a meal plan for once. I was given a really strict, rigid meal plan. And, they never asked me if that was sustainable for my lifestyle, if that was doable, if eating 6 meals a day was, right for me. Because I was working full time and I had a really busy lifestyle. So eating 6 meals, I felt like I was eating every 5 seconds and I would have to stop my day to just do that. And it was really unrealistic. But, you get a coach. I'm like contest prepping. I just have to do what they tell me to do. That was my mindset. I feel like you really do put a lot of trust in coaches. You're paying for their expertise and you just put everything into them. And as I was on my meal plan, I would notice I would get a new meal plan every maybe 4 weeks or so, and it would be completely different. It would have completely different foods. And after a while, I was like, this is weird. Why do I have salmon one month and then I don't have salmon anymore? I maybe have tilapia or a whitefish, or, I started noticing changes in foods because in my mind, I thought, well, if it's not on my meal plan, it's a bad food. That's kind of the relationship I had with food at the time. So I would ask them and, the answer I would always get was, don't ask questions, just stick with the plan. Just stick with the plan, stick with the plan, stick with the plan. And I think that's a big red flag, is when you have a coach that doesn't actually tell you why they are doing something or the reason behind something, and they avoid that. That's a big sign they are probably not a very good coach. They either don't know why and they're just giving you random stuff, or they do know why, but they don't want to tell you because they don't want you to learn. They want you to rely on them forever and always use them and, have to pay them. So I think that's a big red flag. That was a big red flag for me at the time, where I was like, this is kind of weird. They're not answering my questions. And after a while, because I was asking these questions and I just kept getting the same response, like just stick to the plan, stop asking. I did stop asking and I stopped learning. And, you do then rely on them. You completely rely on them. I had no idea what I was doing by myself. And you're constantly paying them for, your meal plans and training programs, etc. So that was a big issue for me with that style of coaching. I guess it wasn't even coaching. That's something that was, you're just being given a program and you have support, you have someone you're communicating with, but it's more for accountability. So I guess if you just wanted someone to be accountable to, that's okay. And you're getting a meal plan and training program and you're just checking in every week because it keeps you accountable, that's great, that's fine. But then that person shouldn't really be charging you very much. And granted, I wasn't paying much for it. I think it was like $100 a month, which still isn't too cheap either, you know, for that. If that's what I was getting, I could get a program for probably less than that. So it depends what you want. And if you want someone who's actually coaching you through what you're doing, you want more than that. You want answers. You want someone to be telling you why you're doing something. So that was a big thing for me. And I think the biggest straw for me and what made me stop being with these types of coaches was I had an injury. And it was really, I had a hip issue where I had bursitis and tendonitis and a chronic condition, and it was really painful. So, you know, I was confiding in them and saying, hey, I think I need to change my plan because I can't prep for this next show. I'm in so much pain. I need to really figure this out. And their communication back to me was them saying, well, you know, you really should just push through it. You should be doing this show, et cetera, et cetera. And that was a big moment for me where I felt like, hang on a second, they don't have my best interests. They don't have my health first. They just want their image to be good because I was placing really well in shows. So I knew that if I did well, that reflects well on them too. And if I competed, it was more girls for them to, you know, show that they're doing well as a coach, whatever. And I was like, hang on a second, you don't give a crap about me. You just care about my placing and me competing so you look good. And that's like, no. That's not a coach. That's not even a good human being. Like, what are you doing, you know? You shouldn't be churning out people like they're a number and not caring about their well-being. So that was a big red flag too. If you start getting a feeling with a coach where it feels negative or you feel like you can't talk to them about something, you can't bring something up, you can't share with them, or you feel like they're going to judge you or, you know, or they do judge you, right? Because sometimes you might feel like they're going to judge you, but they're not. It's just your own kind of thoughts and insecurities. But if there's someone that's telling you these negative things, or, you know, if you had a bad week, I used to get told like, well, you know, you have to stick to the plan or you're going to be too fat for a show. Yeah, it's not good. So if you see these things pop up where it doesn't sit well with you and you do bring it up with them and they can't, you know, talk it out with you in a positive way, just cut that off. Even if it's cheap, it's not worth it. You know, you'd rather pay more for somebody. So really with coaching, in terms of pricing, for the most part, you pay for what you get in most people. But with good coaching, so after that, I went to someone who was evidence-based, who was amazing. I learned so much from. So the biggest thing I found with my experience with a coach that was great, they were evidence-based. So anything I asked them, they were able to provide me a reason why, and also provide any scientific evidence if I asked for it, to say, well, there's been studies on this. If you want the studies, I can provide them to you. This is why we're doing this. This is why this is working. And also working with me. So, you know, at the time, I really wanted to still be lean, but my body wasn't in that place to be super lean. My metabolism was really damaged. So they actually had my best interest, because rather than just taking my money and saying, yeah, let's try to lose more weight and put you on 1,000 calories and hours of cardio, they were like, hang on a second, we need to really stop and focus on repairing your body first. Might take 6 months. It's not going to be the process you're comfortable with, but it's necessary to get you from A to Z in the long run. And I'm not going to diet you. You can go to somebody else if you want to do that, because I'm not going to do that. It's jeopardizing your health. That was a huge, I guess, refreshing moment for me to have someone go, oh my gosh, even though this process is scary for me, I had to reverse diet, and it's not what I want to do right now, I know that they are looking after me and they have my health and best interest, because they're saying, well, I know you want to get here, but we need to do ABC to get to Z. Right? So that was the first thing, someone who's actually honest with you about what they feel you need, and maybe compromising with you, you know, to some extent. So saying, hey, we can get some fat off now, but we're going to have to do something pretty extreme. I don't think it's a good idea. It's probably not going to be fun for you. So why don't we just get straight into, reverse dieting, whatever the case was, and we'll get you to fat loss in the next step. That was amazing. I was like, oh my gosh, this is so good. And then I did trust that person, and they were fantastic. And anytime I had a question, hey, why am I doing this? What's the benefit of this? They were able to answer that question, which was amazing. So they should be able to answer your questions, okay? And if I had a concern or I was stressed out about something, they would talk it out with me, right? They were there for me as a coach. They would coach me through, not just, hey, just eat this way, but tell me why, how, and coach me through the mindset stuff as well. If I was kind of freaking out about my body, they would talk me through it. Hey, I understand why you're feeling this way, but let's focus on this goal. Let's focus on this, because if you push through that, you're going to get to where you want to be. Learn to love yourself now, whatever the case may be, right? I think something to also look for is somebody with credentials of some extent, right? And not everyone has a university degree in nutrition and exercise science or anything like that, but they might have years of experience with, nutrition and training on themselves, working with other credible coaches, seminars, credible courses, whatever the case may be. Like, that's really important to look for. And that person I was coaching with had all of that and beyond as well. And somebody who's continuously learning too. For myself, like, I'm always trying to find the next seminar to watch, or a podcast, or whatever the case may be, the next mini course I can take, whatever is within my means to do at the time. It's that constant learning, staying on top of the research, staying on top of new current things, new trends, and then you're constantly learning, because it is an endless process. There's so much knowledge, and I think the more you learn, the more you realize you don't know. And as a coach, it's kind of scary. But, the more you learn, the more you're trying to help your clients, because you learn so much from your clients. Oh, I love my clients. Amazing. So the next thing, before I go into that, getting ahead of myself too far, you need to look for somebody who's actually worked with a bunch of people. So I would recommend looking for somebody who's maybe worked with a minimum of 20 people, or is working with a minimum of 20 people at a time, roughly, right? Or up to into the hundreds. Like, that's what you really want to look for. And making sure they have testimonials, social proof. So have they worked with people? Have they been able to get people results? What are people saying about them? What are their peers saying about them? Who's in their circle? Who are they surrounded with? Are they recommended by other people? Are other people sharing their stuff? Are they producing great content, on social media that's helping others and is educational? So that's really important too. They need to have a sound knowledge base, and they don't have to know everything, but they need to be somebody who's caring and wants to help you. Like, that's the biggest thing, I think. And for me as a coach, I know personally, I was so scared to take that jump into coaching initially full time, because I was like, I don't feel like I know enough. Oh my gosh. Like, it was a little scary for me. So in terms of pricing, and that's something I get asked about a lot, initially I would charge really, really little, because I didn't feel like I had enough one-on-one client experience. Even though I had over 10 years of experience in the industry on myself and working with a few people here and there, I didn't feel like I had enough, one-on-one client experience, because everyone is different, and I learn the most from my clients so much, because every client is absolutely different. And then over time, over the last few years, working with hundreds of people, and now having almost a wait list with clients, it's like, well, okay, I do need to charge more, because that demand is there. But I make sure, and a lot of coaches do this too, they give a lot for their time. You're getting a lot for that service. You're not just getting a training plan or just macros, for example. You're getting me every week, right, as a coach. You're getting access to me at any time to send questions or concerns, and you're getting a video from me every week. You're getting a really in-depth spreadsheet. We go through everything, and we cover your nutrition. We cover, hey, where's your mindset at? Do we need to make any lifestyle changes? How are your habits? Where are they at? Do we need to make any behavioral changes? What are you struggling with outside of nutrition? Maybe are you stressed to the max? How do we implement stress management? There's so many tools. Like, I feel like with nutrition coaching or health and fitness coaching in general, it's not just about having the right macros, or it's how are we going to get you to stick to that. Also personality, whether that person is going to be right for you. So for example, I am friends with a lot of great coaches, and they're fantastic in their own right, and everyone's very different. I'm very different to the style of coaching they have, for example, and it doesn't mean that I'm better than them or vice versa. It just means, hey, they might be a better fit for this type of person, or some other people might find me a better fit for them. So it's just going to really depend on you and what you're looking for. Do you feel like that person has the right personality for you? Do you feel like you would enjoy working with them? Like, you have to look at those things too. It doesn't mean that coach is a bad coach. It might just mean, hey, they're not the right fit for you, and that's okay. You might not like a certain style that they have, or whatever it might be. So keep that in mind as well. I think the biggest thing I would look for in a coach, and something that I try to implement as a coach, is look for someone who's open-minded, right? You see a lot of the people on social media who are like, the only way to eat is keto, or the only way to eat is paleo, or whatever they choose, right? Or the only way to do it is this one way. I think if you have someone that is saying, oh, there's only one way to do something, I think that's a big red flag, because realistically, there isn't one way to do something. I might have a template that maybe I like to follow, for certain people, but at the end of the day, I have to work with that individual person to figure out what's right for them. And then what is right for them might even evolve over time and change. So it's constantly adapting. So you have to have someone who is open-minded and is willing to work with that individual to, if that individual wants to try something different and it's different to what you usually do, but hey, they feel like it's right for them, let's do it. Let's give it a try. Let's work with you on that. Let's compromise and go, well, this is what the science says. This is what you want to, might be a good fit for you. Let's meet in the middle somewhere and figure out the right path for you and what's sustainable for you. So as long as you have someone that's communicating with you all the time, has a great background to some extent, right? And you feel like is a good fit for you and is overall, a good caring person, I think you're going to be, I don't think you can make a mistake with that. And you might even try to work with a few different coaches to figure out who you like better, what kind of style you like better, right? And I don't think price, it's hard to judge with price. I know some people that charge a huge amount, some people that charge less. I don't think price is a good indication necessarily of who's better or who's not, because I've seen some people charge some crazy amounts and you're just getting like crap for it. But also really weigh up, what you're getting. So there's a lot of, challenges or promotions out there or programs that you pay maybe, I don't know, a couple $100 for like 8 weeks. But then think, hey, well, for that amount of money, if I'm only getting a training plan and nutrition plan and nothing else, well, yeah, like that's really what you're going to get. And if you don't want just a program and you want coaching, you're probably going to have to pay a little bit more, because you're paying for that person's time and communication, like every single weekend you have access to them, day to day. Whereas if you are getting somebody who's giving you a lot of energy, a lot of time, a lot of information is always there for you, you're probably going to pay a little bit more because you are getting so much. So it might take a little bit of time for you to try out a few different coaches, different price points to see what works best for you. But as long as you kind of follow, those few things, or keep an eye out keep an eye out for those few things, I think you're going to be just fine. But I think also those red flags will pop up. You'll feel it. If it's someone that's just not right for you in some way, shape or form, or something unsettling about it, or you're just like, why are they not getting back to me like within a week? That's ridiculous. Yeah, it is. If they've not communicated to you, hey, something's popped up, it's going to take me a little longer to get back to you, it might take me 48 hours instead of 24 or whatever, then it's a bit of a red flag. So I'm going to stop rambling. I hope you guys have found that helpful. I really hope you have. If you have had any experience with bad coaches, comment below. Would love to hear the stories. Or if you've had some experience with great coaches, recommend them below, because there's so many out there that don't get the recognition that they deserve, and there's so many out there that, are huge names and that they suck. So I'd love to hear from you, or your experiences, any comments you have. If you like this video and want to hear more videos like this, give it a thumbs up. Thumbs up. Make sure you subscribe so you never miss a video, and I will catch you next time.